Joe is asking, one simple question. What antenna would you use for 20-meter DX?
Oh, a simple quarter wave vertical.
Elevated.
Yeah. Yeah, you could elevate it, but I think a quarter wave vertical, no fancy balun or anything, a 17-foot whip, and some quarter wave radios. I think it's got a low takeoff angle. As long as you're like in a clear area, yeah, it's stupid easy. Otherwise, you have to get like a dipole up 30 feet, 35 feet in the air.
At least it's got to be up a half wave in order to have the optimal DX takeoff angle.
Right.
The dipole's got to be up at least 35 feet.
Right.
Consider that. Greg, the POTA Performer guy, he's been working. He's been playing with what he calls his POTA Challenger antenna, which was a half wave vertical for 20 meters. And
so 34 feet tall.
It was not quite. He was using a 25-foot whip with about a couple extra feet of extra wire.
Okay.
And then he kind of that kind of morphed into his POTA Challenger. That was the Dominator, and then the Challenger. He was trying like a vertical off-center fed. So it was about 2/3 up in the air, and then about 1/3 with a stub, and a 4-to-1 match. And it had a really good lobe though for DX takeoff. I see somebody else here recommended the 20-meter half square. That's a good choice.
For
DX.
I would say realistically a simple vertical, because 20 meters is still the length that you don't really have to get fancy with things, right? For a quarter wave, 17 feet. While usually, even in a kind of a substandard plot of land, you can get 17 feet in the air, right? So, yeah, I would say you can still stay simple on that. You don't need to get a big beam with reflectors and everything else. You don't need to get too crazy. We always talk about the example of Michael. He just sets up a vertical in some marsh up in northern Wisconsin and talks to Australia.
Yeah.
Right? So it's simple and it works. And it works very good, even at low power. So that's what I'm going to say. Anything else, you're just throwing a lot of money and you don't get a lot of return on that.
Yeah, that's true. I think, for if you're really considering DX, European DX, vertical antennas with the low takeoff angle typically are going to give you your best bang for the buck. So think about, when you're choosing something, think about that. Well, is it vertically polarized? Now, then can I get it in at such a height or such a level that I can take advantage of that? If that major lobe is going to have that low angle, and I think you'll find that sort of the answer to your question, a good 20-meter DX antenna without breaking the bank, stacked, Yagis with the
right
with the amplifier,
with the turning tower and everything.
Yeah. So I hopefully that answers the question. So all right. Mag loops have a very sketchy reputation, but I find works well. Yeah, they do. The cool thing about a mag loop antenna is that that null gets rid of that noise, so you got a really great signal to noise ratio. And I think if the mag loop, if you wanted a 20-meter DX antenna, if you could build a mag loop that was optimized for the 20-meter band, it would be an killer. The thing that gives mag loops their, I don't really want to say their bad name, but what gives people sort of that bad taste with mag loops is that they're a relatively small antenna, but and they are also relatively small, and yeah, for their intended purpose, for the bands in which you might want to use them on. So, um, say the standard mag loop, which has a diameter of about 30
Mhm.
inches in that neighborhood, is great for 10 and 15 and maybe even 20 meters. By the time you get down to 40 and 80, well, their Q is so high and their bandwidth is so narrow that they become practically unusable for searching around in the band. But if you were to make that loop an appropriate size for the band, so enlarge the magnetic loop, yeah, then you're
Yeah, I think
gonna be a
Chameleon
killer.
Loop is a 10, 15, and maybe 20 meter
Mhm.
antenna, right? And then they give you some extra stuff to try to get down on 40 and 80. Um,
Yeah,
I
it's a
like
challenge.
mag loops, but it's knife edge tuning on those. So you
Mhm,
just got to
mhm.
be aware of that. But so you're not going to just be spanning around the entire band looking for something. You're going to kind of find something and you're going to have like a 10, 15 kilohertz bandwidth, and that's kind of what you're going to work with.
Yeah, yeah. But that standard size of mag loop that you see on the commercial ones for 10 and 15 meters, you've got like 50, 60 kilohertz already. So
Right.
that's a lot of wiggle room.
Mhm.
So, mhm. KB9 VBR antennas are simple, effective, and affordable VHF and UHF antennas for amateur radio, MURS, public safety, and GMRS. Made in the USA with quality parts. Get yours online at jpole-antenna.com.